Hello to all retail traders and welcome. I'm happy to announce a new feature of WasteWave with alert for MT4 and MT5. This is going to be a very important feature for your trading. Well, we all know by now how important it is to figure out and get alerted for a slow wave or to get alerted for a fast wave. Let me remind you, a slow wave, it's a wave that has a high speed index, and a fast wave, it's a wave that has a low speed index. So what is a high and what is a low speed index? How can it be defined? Well, a high and a low, it's everything that is extreme from the average speed index you see on your screen. So let me first let me increase the fonts a bit so it's more clear. There we go. Okay, so an extreme speed index by looking at these numbers will be the 5 as a small number, or the 30, the 30s, 36 as a large number. Okay, it has to be something extreme from the average. Okay, so the indicator so far, it had an alert for extreme speed index numbers, but it was set up manually. Let me show it to you. So if you remember here, if we were to set the manual speed index alert to true, we could basically tell the indicator that a slow speed index is anything above 30, for example, and a fast speed index is everything below 6. Okay, and if I press OK, we see that these numbers are highlighted and the extremes, according to my settings, have been visible on the chart. Well, we don't need to do that anymore because there is the auto speed index alert, which calculates the average of speed index numbers so many waves back or so many speed index numbers back, and then it finds out the extremes according to a threshold that you will set. So let me go into details about that, how to set uh, the parameters. Let me turn off the manual. By the way, both of them work at the same time if you wish. So I will get the manual off. Okay, and we're going to set up the automatic extreme speed index finder. All right, this always has to be set up where your wave type is volume. Okay, this indicator instance, not on pips, not on PVR, not on anything else, just the volume has to be set up here. And let's see what are the new parameters on the indicator. I'm going down And as we go down, you will notice speed index alert auto. Okay, so if we set this to true, this will be valid and will be able to alert us. Alert us what? The extreme threshold. In this case, we're getting some alerts already. In this case, it's zero point 0.5. This means what? It means that anything above 50% of the average will be considered a slow wave, and anything less than 50% of the average will be considered as a fast wave. Okay, so how is the average calculated? The average is calculated by this number here, which is average SI waves back, which basically we're going back 20 waves to calculate the average. Of course, this you can play around, you can make it 30, depending on your time frame. You can go back and forth on the number. In this case, I'm going back 20 waves. Basically, I'm going back 20 speed index numbers, and I'm calculating the average. Of course, the forming one is not in the calculations. And then two more things about the parameters, the minimum bars fast and the minimum bars slow. Because we know we want to filter out some very small waves. For example, you cannot consider a wave to be slow if it has only one bar. Okay, so we can filter out that the slow waves must at least be 3 bars long. Okay, for the fast waves, I have it at one bar because we can have 1 bar fast waves. But for the slow, I need at least 3 bars or even sometimes even more to get the indication. So basically, these are the only things that we set up. Okay, so the threshold, what is extreme? Is it 50% above the average? Is it 30% above the average? The less you have this number, the more signals you're going to get. The higher, the less signals you're going to get. So in this case, the 0.5 means 50% above the average of 50% below the average. So now the alerts. The alerts will come out and are down here as every other alert in this indicator, either a pop-up or a sound, email, or a push. And these are the same alerts go for the manual or the auto wave, which we just explained. So it's the same alert. So you just have to set up this to true, okay? And one more thing which is very important, okay? It's this. Now you have an additional information on your display. Okay, now this is an alert that just came out before I go to the display, and this is what it tells us. It tells us that on USD CAD we have a fast speed of 7 speed index, while our average is at 17.2. So our average 17.2, and we just have a wave of 7. This means that 59.2% less, the 7 is 59.2% less than the 17, since this is below the 50 that we have in our threshold. It has been alerted, which is giving us an alert. So when you see a negative number, it means it's a fast wave, and when you see a positive number, it means it's above, so it's a slow wave. Okay, so this is the alert we get. The same alert comes on our email or our mobile, wherever we wish. But another most important thing is that you can see here on your display on the bottom left corner of the price chart that you have set up this indicator to check back 20 waves with a threshold of 50%. And currently with this setup, your average speed index is at 17.2, while your car speed index is at 7, and it's this one. So it's not calculating the forming one. Okay, so if I go 20 waves back, the average will be 17.2, and the current one is 7, which is an extreme. It's below 50% of the average. So it gave us the indication. Okay. Uh, I can also change the parameters, for example, and make I want more waves back, like a 50 wave back to get the average, for example. Let's see if we see any difference. We still get an alert, okay? And the average now of 50 waves back is 14.6, and the current is 7.1. It's still above the 50%. So we're still getting an alert. So as you can see now, you have this set up. You can set this up on any time frame, and you will be alerted about a fast or a slow wave. So this is a fast situation. Let me see if I can find a slow wave situation. They're all fast here. Okay, now here we don't have a situation, but you can see here the average is 25. Let me increase the fonts again so it will be visible to your screen. Let me make them 11. So 20 waves back again. The average of 20 waves back is 25.2, while the current one is 32. So it's 27.4 slower than the average. Okay, it hasn't crossed our threshold, the 50%. So there's no alert, nothing popped out on this one. Okay, let's look at the daily. If there is something very close, the daily, the 20 waves back, it's 50, the average, and 52, the current wave. Okay, let's see, M30, what do we have? Again, nothing funny. M15, very close to funny, but not yet. It's minus 46, it hasn't crossed the 50, so, but it's still, what it says to us is that the current speed index, the 3.1, it's 46% less than the average. Okay, we're getting this notification. Maybe we're not getting a pop-up, but we know what is happening right now concerning the current speed index versus the average. Okay, and 5, nothing funny here either. And let's go to M1. There we go. We got an alert on M1 which says we have a fast speed of 0.7 while our average is 1.5. This is 56%, which means it's 56% faster than our average. And let's see it. It's this one. Okay, it's this 0.7 right here. Okay, that it's saying that this is a fast wave, 56% faster than the average. Okay, let me see if I have anything else to say about this new feature, which is very, very important in our trading. Did I cover everything? I think I covered everything. Well, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. TradeTheVolumeWaves.com. Thank you for watching.